Hello, good morning, good evening, good night, good time of day, good afternoon. Zion back at you with the Lambda log. This is week 2, day 2, Tuesday, the 12th of May, 2026. Shout out Sandridge. Okay, this is a rehearsal day. It was our first rehearsal day with Vicky doing my new project, the Bow Stratagem. Is that true? Yeah, that's true. We had a great day. We did a ton. Um and so I'm gonna go through all of it with you. Um yeah. So we got a little this is with Victoria Woodward, Vicky, who did our intro at the end of last term. She started out as an actor and then became a voice teacher and then was a director. Her husband is a comedy writer and taught her a lot about just about comedy and how it works and how to make all that work. You know, we circled up and we went over our names, our pronouns, where we're from, and our experience with restoration. The closest I got to it is I was in An Ideal Husband in undergrad. I played the ideal husband, but it was a radio play, so I'm like aware of it. Um, yeah, and then the Rivals versus the Rovers was the last thing she worked on. Um, so Vicky also teaches at RADA when she's not here. Um, and her philosophy is if you're not having fun, what's the point? Um, and she wants us to gather songs that make us feel like champagne inside. Um, these people are motivated by super strong needs. It seems shallow and frivolous, but a lot of the time it's centered in real feelings. It's good to come and watch rehearsals, even if you're not performing that day. Be specific with the text and the words. She will stress being word perfect. Um, we are predominantly working in the new studio, the new space that we have, but we started out at a Lambda space in the east wing, the east side of the building. And so we might have to like steal some boxes and stuff because boxes and things really help to create a world. It's kind of a scratch show, and so we are the pieces. We are part of it, right? The show will be performed in the Sainsbury, which is fun. That'll be our first time in like an official theater and not just a studio or a room. Um, no plan of battle survives contact with the enemy, and she sees the actors as the enemy. So she doesn't give us the whole plan because things can change and can be sabotaged and whatnot and what. Um, oh, also, shoot, I should have attached my video, my self tape to last video. So I'll attach this to this one, the one that I worked on Monday morning. I'll attach that here. It's fine. It's from Killing Eve. I didn't have a lot of time to work on it. I think we got the email that we were doing it on Friday, maybe Thursday, and then we did it on it was due Monday at noon. We're just cruising now. So much to do. Don't even get me started on what I did today. I'll get started. This is the era of the proscenium art. It's where it was established, created, and popularized. We will start each rehearsal together at the beginning, and we're going to try to end each rehearsal together as well. Kristen is our movement support, and Jeremy is our voice support. I'm excited to work with Jeremy. He's going to be one of our tutors this term as well. We played a game. We played this really fun game. It was a ball game. And so we all got in a circle, and then we created an order of passing a ball to different people, and it was a pattern of like who went first. And so you did it with just the name first. It's just like you say the name and then you pass it, like this person, Bob, Sarah, Samantha, whomever. And then it was your favorite color, and you're trying to say different colors. Like, so if someone said your favorite color, you got to pick a new one. Cyan is my favorite color. And then your favorite food: pizza, steak, burritos, whatever anyone says. Did I say pizza? I don't even remember. But so the first time you just do the order and then you go through it in a cycle. And then the second time you do the new order and then you put them on top of each other. So one person's doing it and then you start the other one and it's simultaneously going. And then you add the third. And it's a great way to pay attention to lots of things. But all you really have to pay attention to is 6 different things: who you receive the ball from and who you receive it to for the 3 different patterns. And so it seems like a lot, but it's not necessarily. Oh, another game we played is we let out from our knees and we walked around and we let out from our nose, um, and interacted and saw what characters those created and what sounds they created. Um, we did a read through of the script and we were looking for the timing for whenever money came up, where the places were, and then props. I became the prop master man and I wrote this list of all the props. Um, I'm gonna kind of make sure that everyone gets the props that they need. Then, then we had people reading across from each other, so that we were sitting in a circle. So instead of just having people read next to each other, we really wanted to like project that volume and keep it interactive. And so Lichfield is a couple days ride from London. Um, so mentions of London are a big deal. That's high society. That's interesting. That's special. Coaching, it's a coaching inn where a lot of this play takes place, and that it starts Saturday late at night. We need to be very clear with introducing the characters, because the whole first scene is like, who is this person, that person, this person, that person. Think about what everyone wants. Always be aware of that. Speed of delivery is important, but it's not the first step. Clarity and specificity comes first, and then speed. Punctuation is much more stable. Find and push for the full stops. What do you do in an awful, abusive, or loveless marriage? Right? Just questions to think about. Always look for the antitheses, and then you set up an antithesis and you pay it off. That inflection is important to help the audience understand like what's being compared. We had a little 15-minute break. Another important thing, or some more important things, are just that as I was going through it, we were encouraged to try out different accents and different things. And she is not afraid of having like an accent salad. So it doesn't have to be like, oh, this person are the same like family, so they should speak the same. But she's totally happy with like, this person can be Southern or Southern American. This person could be Cockney, even though it doesn't like make sense in Litchfield. It's like, this person will be RP or that or this, you know? So it was fun. After the break, my first read was for Cherry in Act 2, Scene 2. And I think I did it Cockney. I don't remember exactly. I got like Kiwi. Don't remember exactly what it was, but I went a little Cockney for it. Or just a bit of London. Gibbet is a character's name. He's a highwayman, and that's also the name of the support beam that holds the noose at the gallows. So Archer starts out much more ruthless, and he goes on a journey. So we were clocking that journey. In the society at the time, the younger brother gets nothing. The first son inherits everything. The second son usually goes into military, and the third son becomes religious because there's nothing left for him. That was tradition. Life is so boring in the country, and all of a sudden there's these 2 new men, and so it's interesting. Anything, right? Mrs. Sullen is looking for anything to bring enjoyment or energy. She's from London, where there's the hustle and bustle in the life, and now she's stuck in the country. So keep the energy up and through to the end of the line. Don't just drop off. Don't drop those ends. But it's so witty and specific, and it's usually building to that last word. Captain is a military person, and they're all over. Um, Vicky said how Scrub has her heart. There's a French man, and he says the term beggar, beggar, Begar, which is actually the exclamation by God. Spoiler alerts, I've got been cast as the French fop man. Frenchman fop. So I might ask about changing that because that's a little taking the Lord's name in vain, which I would prefer not to do. I'll come with some offers for her. But we are playing with stereotypes, but we are not mocking them. We are honoring them and we love them, right? So even though this Count Belair is going to be very French and it is going to have a French accent and he is going to speak like this and it is almost like it is making fun of him, it is very special. It is very lovely and we love him. I'll work on it. I think it's okay. Oh, there's a fun, just saying, enough blue sky to make a Dutchman a pair of trousers. It's a fun old English saying that Vicky said. I don't even remember what it means exactly. I think there's like nothing. There's so much blue sky because there's nothing else around. So it's enough to make a Dutchman a pair of trousers. Then we had lunch. Then we came back and we played a new game, the proscenium game, which we just went over like upstage and downstage and upstage right and downstage left and that. And then so we would run to those areas. And then another one was bring in the flies. And so you got to bring in the flies and try to incorporate your whole body in that. And then tragedy, you had to die in a tragic way. Just. And then comedy, you had to do like a pratfall, like a slip on the banana peel, which was a fun game. And I was just bouncing. I was enjoying the day so much. Something that is important also is that these characters aren't typically alone. And so take notice about any time a character is alone on stage. That's kind of when they let their mask slip a bit and that you see them who they really are and not as much like what their wit is covering up. Then I read for Archer in Act 4, Scene 1, and I did a very proper and prim RP, as if it were the King's English. And it was quite fun. I enjoyed it thoroughly. Women don't get the money, but they maintain the status. So it's important that's still important. That they don't have financial power, but they have social power. Vicky uses the term ding dong a lot, as in like a back and forth or like a flirty gurdy. It's a ding dong. They had a ding dong. These people are always pretending to be other people with other wants and desires, but they have their own. Look for references for these characters. Like in real life, like who is my character like? Who is Count Belair? Who is he like? Who can I use to be a reference? These people are comfortable in their sexuality. It was a time right after the Puritan rule, and so people are like comfortable with who they are and what they want. These people were not self-deprecating, right? Little back. We did a little back pounding break just to kind of wake up, and then we did a little sound shower as we woke up our bodies a little more because we were just sitting a lot. And then something to look is Blackadder season 3. There's a character named Flashheart who is like sex on legs, and in the post Me Too era, it's any coercion has a really negative taste. You know, anything that's like when you don't accept no, especially from a sexual male character, it's just like, whoa, stop it, shut it down. That's not good, which it isn't. Let me be clear. But Archer and these other characters and this Flashheart, they're lovable and they just want to have sex all the time, you know? And so it's like important to be able to show this. It's not a malicious thing. It's not an evil thing. It's taken with like a sweet guy kind of a thing. And then there's this great line by Mrs. Solon where she says, "What will become of me if like she gives in to Count Belair?" Belair. I feel so silly when I do all these French pronunciations. But adultery would ruin her. It would cut. Yeah. Like she doesn't have financial power, but that would ruin her social power and all of her status. We had a little 15-minute break. We discussed our impressions and feelings of the genre of Restoration Theater. It's full of contradictions that lead to a modern feeling. The ending has been massaged by Rodney and Vicky, and it has been edited extensively. Kristen will be available for intimacy work because there's some kissing and some other intimate things. It's wordy, and a lot of people feel Restoration like it's style over substance, but it's more than that. The official casting is I will be playing Thomas Amewell in Act 1, Scene 1 and Act 2, Scene 2. And he is one of the two buddies who come seeking their women to make a fortune with. And then Count Belair in Act 3, Scene 3. Then we all were assigned research presentations in an email previously. And so we did some of our research presentations. And that's partially where I got so many notes because we did almost all of them. And then we finished them on Thursday. But we started with learning about Lichfield, which is mid-England. So it's northwest of London. It's a coach drive-through city. So it's like nobody's going there to go there. It's a cathedral city. So to be classified as a city, you needed a cathedral. And this one had one. It was also a town that was known for the arts. Staffordshire is the county that it's in. It's known as a field of death because a bunch of Christians were killed there. The center of England is where a lot of the Civil War was fought. The Royalists versus the Puritans. I can't remember the name of them, but it was like during that Civil War. And then London is the height of sophistication. And Bath is like the next like center of sophistication after London. And Lichfield is full of bored and unhappily married people. So highwaymen, they kind of have this like sexy vampire type vibe about them. It's like, oh yeah, the highwayman, he's cool. Especially for like the lower class because he was kind of Robin Hoody, and it was like they'd steal from the rich, but like if you weren't rich, you didn't have to worry about it. And he was like swashbuckling and cool. Think of Dick Turpin, who I don't know who he is. I don't remember, but he's someone to look up to. That's to look into, like a highwayman. And they're kind of known as like repairing society from an outside illegal thing, kind of like a vigilante. And there's the idea of like the honorable highwaymen. And then for love and marriage, this was the beginning of social change, making women not property and financially free. Women would not divorce their spouses. It just wasn't possible. So this play ends in this divorce where this super unhappy Mrs. Solon is just like, oh, this is the worst. And he's like, I'll just divorce you. That wasn't really a possibility. So it was kind of radical in that sense, especially for like, if divorce is ever even close to being possible, it would be through whatchamacallit, like adultery and like purity, chastity things. About there was like about 10 divorces an entire like a year, so it was really like limited, and there had to be clear specific reasons. So it was also normally very expensive and difficult to do. Marriage was a business transaction first. Marrying for love was the ideal, and people thought of it, but it was a business transaction. But the love was what was aimed for. Um, compassion at marriage. I don't know what that says. Hee hee. There were no remarriages after divorce. You would become a divorcee, and that was like bad news. Marriage lowered a woman's power um, and status a lot of way, because she went from, you could be like a rich lady to be, and then you become property of your spouse. So kind of the most powerful position to be in would be like a widow without any sons. But even then, I don't know who the money and power goes to. But it's, under law in marriage, there is only one person, and that is the husband. Clever men could get married under false names, and they could like lead double lives and do all sorts of stupid things. Milton theorized about more loose divorce laws with incompatibility as their purpose. That was kind of a big deal, and it was a radical idea. Milton, as in the author of Paradise Lost. And then fashion, hair, and makeup. Charles II brought French fashion to England. Periwigs, three-piece suits, extravagance. England was an imitation of French style. Plays informed and influenced fashion. Suit coats were getting shorter. Men started making their own stylistic choices because they could play with color and other things. Men and women wore obvious makeup, white foundation with pink, sometimes even pink foundation, and clear like circular cheeks, like it showed your aristocracy. Red cheeks with big circles. Upside down triangle was what you wanted for your lips, so they would like white out the corners of their lips, so it just looked like ooh, little heart kind of an idea. They used lead paint, even though they knew about lead poisoning. Like to a degree, men focused a lot on personal grooming. Oh yeah, that they put all sorts of things in their hair and in their grooming. They would use pig bile and donkey genitals, and flies were commonly used for different cosmetic things. Red hair was unfashionable. Wavy and curly hair was in. Unibrows were out. Rosebud lips were in. Men mostly wore the wigs. King Louis VIII started balding at 23, and he was like, wig, 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 wig. Powdered hair and powdered wig was kind of like a dry shampoo. It helped to like soak up the grease and make your hair less greasy. Henry IV in France used dark powder because he was like a young buck. Frizzy big hair was in, like big hair, like wigs and frizzy hair like this. And they would use extensions and all sorts of different things. Side thought, our play has no fop, no true fop. And the fop was fun and usually didn't succeed. The Frenchman is the closest thing, but he's not in it enough really to be like a classic fop. Moving on to war. War was to preserve power and maintain a strong British Navy. King Anne's War is the war that was during the play, and it was a lot about the French, Spanish, and English colonies. British soldiers' life was very difficult. Death sentences and floggings were very common. Many joined the army to escape or to get free food and decent life, and decent pay as well. When you think of the uniforms as basic, like redcoats uniform, like what you think of in the Revolutionary War, there were kind of non-commissioned ranks that were like non-paid, and then there were the commissioned ranks, and the ranking of sergeant was the most senior, and like sergeant major. There's an ensign, which is spelled like ensign, Ensing, but it's pronounced an ensign. Ensign, beginning of the English world conquest. This is where like the sun never sets on the English Empire. Captain is a commissioned class. The prisoners of war. For prisoners of war, there's 3 options. They were either confined, exchanged, or paroled, and that's important for the French characters, because what's his name? My character Count Belair is a paroled French prisoner of war, so he's out and about, but he's not allowed to do certain things. Prisoners of war were seen as very valuable and would become spies a lot of the time if they could get them to. And then with London theatre post-Restoration, theatre exploded after Charles II reinstated it. Women were on stage. Charles II loved theatre. There were the Dukesmen and the King's Company. The Dukesmen were led by William Davenant, and the King's Company was by Thomas Killigrew. They performed in tennis courts a lot of the time before the infrastructure of these proscenium theaters were built. The first theater to have a proscenium arch and moving scenery. So like those dropped in picture frame things and things that moved in. So you could start using set pieces and things a lot more. The new theaters were now indoors, and they were more intimate that way. They had lighting through rudimentary like candles, and like hot wax would sometimes like drip on the audience, which is wild. Action on stage is distinctly separated from the audience, so the fourth wall is much more established, at least like a physical one, because there's still asides and things that are like to the audience, but it's still like separated. There's no more bare stages like in Shakespeare's time. Sets and picture frames introduced. Sets were painted with forced perspective for the first time. Chandeliers were burning candles and dripping hot wax. And they needed trimming like during the show sometimes. Footlights were then added, also candles, but that was a little later. Eventually, oil lamps became the standard. And Shakespeare was performed but edited a lot to taste. And then there were these women actor stars, and men could pay a penny to watch the women dress in the dressing room. So that's gross. Eloquent speech and grand gestures were placed over emotional realism, and the play is where you would go for gossip. So like these actors were stars, just like kind of movie stars today. And it's like if 90s, the situation with Brad Pitt and Jennifer Aniston when they were like dating, I don't know if they got married or they were just engaged. I wasn't really aware of celebrity gossip at the time. But then he started dating Angelina and then married her. So it'd be like at the time when he's dating Angelina and had cheated on her on Jennifer Aniston with Angelina Jolie, and then you put all 3 of them in a play while like playing those parts of one being cheated on, and so that people just like have all this gossip and stuff go on. People also got paid per applause, so like if you got a bigger applause, you got paid more. So it was a silly fun time to be a part of the theater, and that's what I got for you all today. I hope you have a wonderful day, great life, great time.
Hi, I'm Zion Austin. I'm based in London and I'm 6'1". Thanks.
You have a gun?
Yeah,
Since when?
it doesn't matter.
Why didn't you shoot Raymond?
You had it under control.
No, You wanted me to do it.
I wanted you to know how it feels. How did it feel?
What?
I'm proud of you.
Proud?
Yes, we're safe now. You made us safe.
What do you mean?
Well, after today, people will be angry, but we can look after ourselves now, can't we?
I'm going home.
What?
I've got to go home.
Eve, you can't go home.
Yes, I can.
No, we need to talk.
Nope.
You're ruining the moment.
What do you think is happening here?
I think we...
You think we'd be what? Bonnie and Clyde? Just go on a killing spree? Cut a few throats?
Stop it.
You want me to be a mess. You want me to be scared. But I'm like you now. I'm not afraid of anything.
This is what you wanted.
This is what you wanted. This is what you wanted.
Wait, Eve, no. Why are you being like this? You love me.
No.
I love you.
No.
I do.
You don't understand what that means.
I do. You're mine.
No.
You are. You're mine. Eve? I thought you were special.
I'm sorry to disappoint.